Okay, a good Vach, a freiliche Vach. We're just now coming from the Torah portion of Teruma. Teruma means to give a gift. And this week's Torah portion talks about the gifts that everyone gave with a full heart to build Hashem's home. And the Rebbe was talking about this once, and he said, person might ask, um, how could I get it right and do what Hashem wants me to do when I know the mistakes I made in my life. I know who I am. How can I be sure that I'm going to act in a way that Hashem will rest in what I'm doing? How can I be sure that what I'm doing is going to be something that Hashem will want, and Hashem will rest in the work of my hands? Especially not just that we're living in the time of the exile, Mashiach hasn't come, and the exile is as a doubled and quadruple darkness. But besides all that, I have my own mistakes. So how can I be sure that what I'm going to do, I'm going to be able to sink in to be attuned to the desire of Hashem, and Hashem should want to rest in the work of my hands. Rebbe quoted this week's Torah portion, and he said Nediv Leif. The answer is Nediv Leif. As long as you do something with a Yiddish Chassidish varmkeit, do something with a Jewish and Hasidic warmth, then Hashem promises, Hashem promises that I will rest in the work of your hands. That's what the Rebbe said then. I wanted to share with you a story, or maybe 2 or 3 or 4 stories. Let's see how much time we have. About the concept, about this idea of Nediv Lev, but having a generous, philanthropic, magnanimous spirit. Story I want to share with you has never been printed, as far as I know, and I heard it from actually members of the family. And because I haven't received permission to quote the family name, I will not quote the family name. I'll just call the man Label. Label was living in New York in the 50s, and it was 1958. It was the Rebbe was making a Farbrengen in honor of the 18th of Kislev, the 19th of Kislev, in honor of the anniversary of the Alter Rebbe's redemption. And at this Farbrengen, the Rebbe asked that everyone donate to the Chabad village in Eretz Yisrael, to Kfar Chabad. And the Rebbe said that it's not a usual thing that a collection is made for this purpose at the Farbrengen of 19th of Kislev. And because it's not such a usual thing, so we're also going to do this in an unusual way. What's the unusual way we're going to do this? The Rebbe said, usually when I ask people to give tzedakah, and they give whatever they want to give, I don't mix in. I don't tell them they should give more, they should or not. They let them give what they want to give. But now the Rebbe said, I'm going to say what I think. Rebbe said, usually if I don't like what they give, I just keep it to myself. But now Rebbe said, I'm going to say the person should add more than what they've given already. And the Rebbe actually added, he said that some people may not want to give in public because they're going to be criticized that they should give more, and they're going to have to give more because it's in public. So Rebbe said that whenever you give at this special time, at the anniversary of the redemption of the Alter Rebbe, it's going to have a unique blessing of the Alter Rebbe. It's going to be something special, and you're going to be able to make at least 4 times as much as the amount you give to tzedakah, so that this can be 20% of something you're going to earn. And they were quoted the Gemara. The Gemara says that you should give tzedakah in order to become rich. And they were quoted the famous teaching of the Talmud that you're allowed to test Hashem with the mitzvah of tzedakah. And how it's worth so not to give later, but to make this decision tonight on the anniversary of the Alter Rebbe's redemption. It's a special time, and everyone should give. And immediately the Rebbe's Farbrengen table became flooded with checks and pledges from everyone in the attending, including the hero of our story. Label was about to write something down, but then he was young yeshiva student and was in the 50s, and and he was thinking how much money he could give. Whose original thought was he'll give $3.24. That's what he could afford at the time. That's what he was thinking he could afford. Then he started hearing the Rebbe's critique, or the Rebbe's upgrading the various gifts of people. And that was mentioned about 100 different people by name at this Farbrengen. You hear a tape of it. And he tells each person how much more they should add. With a very serious face, the Rebbe said, I mentioned one person by name, so she should give 10 times as much. And so when he heard that, he was thinking, well, maybe $3.24 isn't the right amount. So he decided, okay, I'll give $10. But then he said, you know what, $10? I don't even have $10. Parenthetically, everyone said that when a poor man goes on a train, he always goes on first class. Why? Because a poor man can't afford a ticket anyways. He has to borrow money for the ticket. This is he has to borrow money for the ticket anyway. He said, "Oh, I might as well go first class." So this guy similarly says, I can't afford $10. Or to give $18. I can't afford 10. I might as well give 18. And there was continuing to upgrade the amount, the pledges people were giving. One person there said he should give 20 times as much. There was a Mendel Bartfield. He should give 20 times as much. And he never added, why should he be bothered if Hashem wants to give him 4 times as much? If Hashem wants him to have so much more. Actually, I forgot to mention, the Rebbe said that if someone sees that the amount that Rebbe suggested is more than they could give, it's because Hashem wants them to have so much more money. So if you see that, and as the Rebbe said about Mendel Bartfield, Hashem, why should he be bothered if Hashem wants to give him more? Then the Rebbe said Mendel Feldman, he should add a 0 to his donation. And then the Rebbe said about Label give 5 times as much. Then the Rebbe added this: although I do not know where he will get the money from, however, Hashem says, I have the silver and I have the gold. The silver and gold belongs to Hashem. So the Rebbe said, although I don't know how he'll get it, but Hashem says he has silver and gold. So, in other words, why worry? Hashem has everything. So immediately, Label writes down another 5 times as much to his donation. He adds $90. He gives another check to the Rebbe's Farbrengen table of another $90. And he wrote the date of the check for 2 days later, hoping he'll be able to borrow money so that the check will clear, because it doesn't have the money in the bank. Then the Rebbe said, Shalom Hecht, Alva Shalom. He should give 200 times as much. Another person, the Rebbe said, Mendel Simpson. He should give 4 times as much. The Rebbe said, I don't know how, and not just about him, but many others. The Rebbe said, I don't know why they have such a contraction, such a tzimtzum. In Kabbalah and Chassidus, it talks about many different contractions in divine light. That this Farbrengen, the Rebbe said, but the contractions in the divine light, the different degrees of the contraction. The greatest contraction was the initial contraction of divine light. And Chassidus says the contraction was in such a way that the entire light of Hashem that filled all of reality before the contraction, before the tzimtzum, was entirely hidden, subsequent to this contraction, to this concealment of the divine light. It was more than all the subsequent tzimtzumim. All the subsequent tzimtzumim took away some of the quantity and the quality of the light of Hashem. But the initial first tzimtzum, there was a total concealment of all the divine light. But nevertheless, the Rebbe said, the contraction was only in the light of Hashem, not in the essence of Hashem. Hashem's essence never was removed by this. Hashem's everywhere. And although there was a contraction and the concealment of divine light, it doesn't affect Hashem himself. Hashem is everywhere. His light was hidden, but not him. Hashem is everywhere. But here the Rebbe said people are contracting their donations, and the contraction is worse than the first tzimtzum. The first tzimtzum was only the light of Hashem, but here the entire person isn't there. They're giving it away. They're not present. They're not thinking. They're not aware of what's going on. Hashem was emphasizing Hashem wants to give blessings and more blessings. And it was emphasizing also that the tzedakah should be given in an infinite way, And infinite means it should be given with joy and gladness of heart. That's a sign that it's been given with an infinite way, that you're giving it with a magnanimous spirit, with a happy spirit. So this man, Reb Label, he the Farbrengen was on Thursday. So the next day, Friday, he went to his dad. He asked his dad, "Dad, can I borrow some money?" And his father lent him the money, and he wrote the check for 2 days later. And Baruch Hashem, the check went through. That Shabbos, the Rebbe spoke about how there was one couple. They had a lot of nachas, a lot of satisfaction from the way that they behaved. They came home from the Farbrengen, and they said to themselves, "We can give double as much as what the Rebbe said. We can give double as much." The Rebbe said whatever amount they should add, but they said we can give double as much. And they decided to give double as much. And so too, the Rebbe said, all those who want to uh, everyone should give stuck in an infinite way, and therefore they should double their pledges, as Rebbe said, and add more than double their pledges to what they already pledged on the 19th of Kislev. Imagine Mr. Sidney Hecht, Reb Shalom Hecht, everybody told him to give 200 times as much. Now they were saying to double, to give 400 times as much. Anyways, so and the by giving double, the Torah talks about the number that doubles associated with salvation, as it says in the Torah, "Kaflayim l'teshiyah." They should give double as much, which will cause salvation. So, Reb Label, he immediately after Shabbos, the Rebbe said they should give this immediately after Shabbos. Although, in general, there is some concern about giving money out after Shabbos. The Rebbe said a story about himself. He said one time he was giving it tzedakah to someone at night, and this young man, a fine young man, told the Rebbe, "You're not supposed to give tzedakah at night. It says in Kabbalah, it's night, not a time of tzedakah." And the Rebbe told the previous Rebbe what this man had said, and the previous Rebbe said, "The man who criticized you probably doesn't give tzedakah by day either." Anyways, but if I remember correctly, so the Rebbe said that that's not a concern. They shouldn't worry about this saying of Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, and they should give it tzedakah. If I remember correctly, the Rebbe said that there are different scenarios. You could put the tzedakah away and give it later. If you meet someone who needs help, you for sure should give them. So this scenario, the Rebbe said that everyone should immediately give their pledges and then write a check right after Shabbos. And so too, Reb Label, he wrote another check for $108 after Shabbos, and he also added another $18. So Rebbe said he should give double, and in addition, so he gave another $108 plus another $18. And then he added in his letter to the Rebbe, and I'm going to give more. If the Rebbe wants to give more, if the Rebbe, how much should I give more? So the Rebbe responded, he should add another $1 to what he gave already. And as the Rebbe mentioned at the Farbrengen, you should give. Now look at your bank account, and Hashem will certainly help that you'll be able to fulfill your pledge. This was at this Farbrengen, and this Reb Label Baruch Hashem, he found a job to read the Torah in 3 different synagogues, and he was able to take care of his pledges. But more importantly, more interestingly, is that the Rebbe gave him far greater blessings beyond the $108 that he built to pay his pledges. The Rebbe directly was involved in this person's life in helping him earn a livelihood. All of his siblings were prominent rabbis. He wanted to go into business, and his father was not so happy with this. So his father brought him to the Rebbe's room for a private audience, and he was hoping that the Rebbe would side with him and say, this is not a good idea. All of his siblings are rabbis. He should better be a rabbi than to be a businessman. But instead, the Rebbe asked him what he wants to get into. He wants to get into diamonds. He wants to work with diamonds. The Rebbe took out a business card of a certain Baba Chassid. The Rebbe said to him, you should reach out to this guy and ask him to help to bring you into the business. And eventually you'll start your own business. So, amazingly, this Baba Chassid who the Rebbe introduced him to never met the Rebbe, never was in touch with the Rebbe, and yet the Rebbe gave him the business card, and this person, Baruch Hashem, unfortunately, he's already passed away, but his children still have this very successful diamond business as a result of the Rebbe's direct involvement and blessing. Li ha-kesef v'li hazav. As the Rebbe said at that Farbrengen, Hashem says, I have silver and I have gold. I don't know how he's going to pay for this, but it doesn't matter. Hashem has silver and gold. So continuing this theme of magnanimous spirit and giving with joy and happiness, and the month of Adar is associated with the whole idea of simcha and happiness. So I'm going to share with you another story on this same theme of giving and happiness and simcha, how important simcha is in our lives. Remendel Futerfas used to compare the evil inclination to a spider, and he said the spider makes a web, and the spider catches a fly in the web, but the spider doesn't approach the fly. As long as the fly is wriggling around in the web, the spider waits. He waits until the fly has given up, and then the spider goes and takes the life of the fly. Similar way, Mendel said that the evil inclination is like the spider, and he waits for a person to give up. He just wants a person to lose his simcha, lose his happiness. The happiness is key to everything. And it's with the simcha, with the joy and the gladness of heart that we can accomplish everything. With the magnanimous spirit, with the Yiddish Chassidische Varka, the Jewish Chassidic warmth, we open doors. And so the evil inclination, what his role is to get us to lose our drive, to lose our happiness. And he makes the web. And because he makes the web, when we trip, when we fall, we make this mistake and that mistake until we give up on ourselves. Then, unfortunately, we're easy pickings for the Yetzer Hara. Remendel Futerfas himself was in prison, and at one point, under the watchful eyes of the prison guards, he managed, by some mistake, to meet his friend Moshe Vyshetsky, Olav Shalom. He asked him, Moshe, how are you doing? How do you feel? Are you besimcha? Am I besimcha? How can I be besimcha, Remendel? I don't have tefillin. I'm in prison for 2 years. I don't have matzahs. I don't have kosher food. How in the world do you expect me to be besimcha without matzahs, without tefillin, without kosher food? How am I supposed to be besimcha? So Mendel said, being in prison takes away our body. But if you lose the simcha, you lose your soul. Don't lose the simcha. Keep the simcha going. There was a chassid, the previous Rebbe, Rebbe Michal Dvorkin. Michal Dvorkin said this. He had the following parable to explain the unique satisfaction Hashem has from our mitzvahs now at the end of time, the end of the exile. He said that there was once a king who got lost in the forest. He was on a hunting trip. He's lost in the forest, and this man takes him into his home, and he puts out some straw for the king to sleep on. He throws some old clothing on the king to warm him up. The king sleeps. The king is so appreciative of this guy, and he invests with him and gives money to him, and the guy is so excited and so happy, so successful. And all the ministers of the king are so jealous. They told the king, Your Majesty, whenever we invite you to our homes, we give you our best. We take care of you. We serve you with all of the things we have, the best that we have. Why is it that this guy, you have such satisfaction from him and not from us? So the king said, very simple. It was cold and it was dark, and this guy took me in at a time when I was cold and I was hungry and it was dark, and then no one else took me in. That's why I'm so appreciative. In a similar way, Reb Michal Dvorkin said, at the end of the exile, there is a unique satisfaction that the Eibishter has from our service of Hashem. As the original Rebbe said, that the mitzvahs we do at the end of the exile, before Mashiach comes, there's such a unique satisfaction that Hashem has from what we do now at the end of the exile. It's as if we are like the greatest tzaddikim. What the greatest tzaddikim did in previous generations. They did amazing things. They did crazy stuff, crazy sacrifice for Hashem. And our mitzvahs and our Torah is negligible. It's garnish. It's nothing compared to theirs. Our davening is garnish, nothing. And yet, because it's cold and because it's dark, it's accepted by the Eibishter, accepted by Hashem, as if we were the creme de la creme, the best of the best, offering to Hashem the most amazing, the sweetest and the best and the holiest things that the tzaddikim of yesteryear offered to Hashem. At the end of the exile, our tiny little things that we do are so satisfying. We're like the guy who gives the king the rags to warm up the king, to give the king the straw to rest his body. It's just straw, but it's such a cold, dark time, and therefore it causes such a nachas ruach, such a simcha by Hashem. Rebbe Masmid, famous chassid, the previous Rebbe, when he heard this teaching of Reb Michal Dvorkin, this parable that he gave, which he heard in the city of Lubavitch, he was so excited, and he forbring the whole night. He spoke about this, how it's cold and how it's dark, and what kind of impact and what kind of a joy Hashem has from all our mitzvahs. There's an emissary, the Rebbe in Lyon, in France, Rabbi and Mrs. Gurevich. When they first visited the Rebbe before they embarked on this mission, they were given a lot of blessings. And among other things, the Rebbe said that the French don't like seeing sad faces. The French can't stand sad faces. And you should go with joy and go with gladness of heart. Okay? Amazing. Good instructions. You got it. So, actually, on one occasion, I don't want to make a mistake in the story, but something to this effect. On one occasion, Rabbi Gurevich left Lyon because his wife was going away. He left for Shabbos, and he was away for 3 Shabbos, if I remember correctly, from Lyon. And the Rebbe said, to him, if I was in Lyon, I wouldn't leave. And I would make sure that another child should go to a Jewish school. I wouldn't be satisfied. I would stay there, make sure that another child should go to a Jewish school. That's what Rebbe said about himself. If I was in Lyon, I would stay there. I wouldn't leave, make sure that another child should go to a Jewish school. Anyways, Rabbi Gurevich met the mayor of France, and many people were discouraging Rabbi Gurevich from making a school. They said to him, you cannot make a school because the French government is not into this. French government wants to support the public schools, and this idea of making a private school is not in the interest of the French government. You're going to make they're not going to support you, and you're not going to do this. But he met the mayor, and the mayor was very happy to support him, and the mayor actually gave him a large piece of real estate and to use for the Jewish community to make the school, and then real estate and the building. It's something that was like a game changer that allowed them to actually begin their school. This was because of this mayor. And the mayor said the reason he wanted to participate was this. He said, I did some research into the Chabad. I heard the Chabad are happy people. And he said, the French do not like seeing sad faces. Exactly the words that the Rebbe told Rabbi Gurevich and his audience. The French don't like seeing sad faces, and I heard that they're happy people. Oh, this fits in with our country. This fits in with France. And therefore, he allocated this whole large gift for the Jewish community in Lyon. I want to tell you one more story. Amazing story. This story was shared by Rabbi Silberstein, who he is a Rebbe's emissary in a college campus in Ithaca. And there was one student who came from an unorthodox family, and he encouraged a student to maintain his what he learned at home in the hostile, religiously hostile environment of college. And he was doing well for a while, but college is a very challenging place. And he stopped coming to shul, stopped coming to synagogue. And one day, Rabbi Silverstein sees him together with some non-Jewish friends and hanging out together. Rabbi Silverstein says to him, what happened? He said, I'm not religious anymore. I stopped being religious. All right. Comes Yom Kippur, he comes to shul for Yom Kippur, and he had some questions. Rabbi Silverstein tried to tell him why his questions have answers, and they shouldn't bother him, they shouldn't affect him. But he said, no, it's just not for me. This thing's not for me. And Rabbi Silverstein had really invested a lot of soul and energy and blood, sweat, and tears to help this student be the way he's supposed to be. And he called the student's father. The student's father said to Rabbi Silverstein, "You shouldn't be upset. Let me tell you about my son. When my son was a baby, he had this mysterious illness where he would suddenly faint, suddenly go unconscious. He was losing a lot of weight, and he was really in a dire state. And I came to the Rebbe for an audience, and I said to the Rebbe, I'm losing my son." He's telling this Rabbi Eli Silverstein. "I'm losing my son. He can't walk. He's very weak, and I'm losing him." So the Rebbe told the father to bring his son over in the Rebbe's room, to bring his son over to the Rebbe. The Rebbe picked up his son and put him on the Rebbe's lap, and the Rebbe started talking to the son like you talk to a child. And I'm speaking to this little boy, and then the Rebbe said, "It's nothing. He'll be okay." And sure enough, from that moment on, he never again had this mysterious fainting out of nowhere. He wasn't losing weight anymore. He got better. From that moment on, he got better. 17 years pass. His son is going to go to Israel, and his father decided he's going to visit the Rebbe. By this time, the Rebbe wasn't having private audiences. They would see people on Sundays, when they would give out dollars to everyone. And he decided he's going to ask the Rebbe for a blessing for his son when he's going on a trip to Israel. He comes to the Rebbe. He had never written to the Rebbe in between that time and this 17 years later. He had never written to the Rebbe, and his son, he never brought the son to the Rebbe since then. And then he comes to the Rebbe, and at the clear blue sky, before he could say anything, the Rebbe said to him, "How is?" Never said the son's name. And how's he doing? And so he told Rabbi Silverstein, he said, surely if the Rebbe said he's going to be okay, the Rebbe is thinking about him all these 17 years, for sure he'll be okay. There's nothing to worry about. And Baruch Hashem, this son today is a successful businessman here in California, and he has Baruch Hashem, a connection with Rabbi Silverstein. And I'm sure, this father told Rabbi Silverstein, the Rebbe says he's going to be okay. He's for sure. If he's already okay, I don't know. But the Rebbe says he's going to be okay. He's for sure going to be okay. The same as also all of us are children of Hashem. We're all going to be okay. All the soldiers are going to be okay, and all the hostages are going to be okay. And the Eibush is going to make all the Jewish people of all of history okay, and bring the coming Mashiach. And what we need to do is to add in simcha, add in joy, add in happiness, and to give to each other with a magnanimous spirit, but simchut livav, with the joy and gladness of heart in an infinite way. And as I mentioned, the Rebbe said giving in an infinite way means to give with joy and gladness of heart and simcha, and to show Hashem how we trust Him with our confidence and our happiness and our joy in Hashem's protection, Hashem's blessings. This opens a door for all of Hashem's kindness, as the Baal Shem Tov taught on the verse in chapter 121. Hashem is your shadow. Baal Shem Tov taught that when a Jew is joyous, a Jew shows Hashem, he trusts in Him, that causes a reciprocal effect in heaven. The Eibishter, so to speak, is joyous with him and shows kindness to him. So just by being happy, we open the door of bracha for ourselves, for all good, and we open the door, more importantly, for the true and complete redemption, which the Rebbe said the door is already opened. We're just waiting for every Jew to bring the redemption into the room with Mashiach Tzidkenu. So we should see this happen immediately tonight. And as a custom is, as many people have the custom to say on Saturday night, sing the song, Al Tira Abdi Yaakov, do not be afraid, my servant Yaakov. Oh, it's not our custom to sing the song, but it's definitely a custom to think about this. Entering a new week, as we say in Havdalah, Jewish people had joy and light and happiness. This is a verse that was said about Purim. This week we're entering Purim Katan, like Shabbos is Shushim Purim Katan. You have to add in the simcha, and we start our week with absolute confidence. It was joyous, it was happy for them, and so too, Kain Tialano, so too will be for all of us. We should see it happen. Because of Mamash, the Bias Mashiach